I'm sitting outside now, you see, on the trampoline.
Oh man, I wish I was there.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, in Wesley Chapel, Florida.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, well, we're getting ready to get started here in one moment.
Okay.
Let me make sure it's everything.
It looked like you in Paris or something.
Does it?
It looked like you're in Paris, whatever that thing is behind you. It looked like the Eiffel Tower.
Probably because I'm sitting on their trampoline. They got a place where you could sit on the trampoline. They got a big trampoline.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, praise the Lord. Hallelujah. And thank you, Jesus. It's around that time right here on KAZ Radio. We have one of my most favorite shows, Sisters of Leisure, with Tracy and Michelle. Take it away, sisters.
Hi, everybody. We are super excited to see you. It is spring break, everyone. And I hope you are enjoying fun in the sun. My name is Tracy, and I'm just one part of Sisters of Leisure, where we are living every day and seeking and understanding real events.
And I am Michelle, the little sister.
And I have two amazing sponsors today. I have Chosen Bath and Body. And this is Chosen Bath and Body. She has a great, great moisturizer. If you have eczema, psoriasis, dry skin, this is the moisturizer you need to keep your skin looking lavish like mine, because I use it every day. I love it. And it smells great too. Also, I was reading a book by this young lady named Carmen Greenard-Varnum, and it is entitled By His Grace, Here I Am. And when I tell you, I couldn't put the book down. I absolutely love it. Sometimes your testimony is your greatest story, or to help someone get through whatever they're getting through. This young lady here, I'm just going to say a couple of things. She was a foster child. Her mother was a foster child. Just think about the trauma in just that alone. So this book here by Mrs. Carmen Greenard-Varnum is amazing. By His Grace, Here I Am is a good read. I just want to tell you that. And also her son is actually an NFL football player with the Houston Texans, number 52. So I think that's pretty cool. Today, you want to introduce Michelle?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, today we have an amazing, amazing young lady. We had the pleasure of meeting through our brother, Larry, Dr. Rhonda Turpin. She is called the Grant Lady.
Yes.
I mean, this young lady is absolutely phenomenal. She has a lot of knowledge in grant writing and business, and she is definitely the lady that you need to speak to if you need anything when it comes to business and grant writing. So we just thank you for a very, very short notice while she is on vacation, everybody. She had a very short notice, and we just are so honored and grateful that she said yes to be on our podcast. Dr. Turpin. So the Grant Lady, how did you get that name?
I gave myself that title, that Grant Lady, because a lot of times, especially in my town, Cleveland is a word of mouth town. And a lot of people cannot remember my name, but they'll ask somebody, that Grant Lady, you know who I'm talking about. She was on this, or she was on this, or she was on the register. That Grant Lady, or they'll say the older Black lady, that Grant Lady. But that Grant Lady, they've been calling me that for some years. So that's my handle. So that's where I get that from. I've been writing grants now for 38 years.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say. You know, Dr. Turpin, like Tracy said, thank you so much for gracing us today. But, you know, so you've been writing grants for 30-something years. Like, how did you get started in this? Tell us a little bit about your history.
Yes. So let me tell you my history. Out of high school, I worked at Murtis Taylor. I graduated from high school, and I started from Cleveland, Ohio. Murtis Taylor Multi-Service Center is a treatment center for mental health and everything. So my first job I got was a secretary. I went to Jane Addams all-girls school, and I came out certified, as a certified secretary. Back in the day, you went to trade schools. So I came out as a secretary. I got a job at Murtis Taylor. At Murtis Taylor, my boss, at 18, my first boss was Dr. Paul Hill, who's now still a legend. He was my boss, and Ascari Kita. So I was the secretary, but what they did was, especially Dr. Hill, he trained me to write grants. And then instead of going to the RFPs, he sent me. So within 6 months of that job, I was actually writing the grants, and he showed me everything. We would sit down, we would go to meetings and everything. So he ended up branching out and doing East End. And I like telling this story too, because then we came full circle. I was writing grants for the county commissioners when we had a different structure, and they sent me to East End to write under a collaboration for Southeast Side. And so Dr. Hill, when I walked in, I said, we came full circle when the student meets the teacher, when the student meets the teacher and writes for the teacher. And he started laughing. So he's still very prevalent in rites of passage and in our city, but that's who actually taught me. And then I went to school after working there, while working there. I got in first Tri-C and got certified in mental health. And then I went to Cleveland State College of Urban Affairs, nonprofit management, grant writing, everything, just to get the book side, because I had the practical side, but I wanted to get the book side. So then at Cleveland State, I graduated with my master's in urban studies, which is building cities, building small communities. Yeah. So that's how I got started, and I just kept going, just kept going through the years and been able to feed my family. I'm a change artist. So once an agency is up to future and running, has a healthy budget, everything, my eyes are looking elsewhere because I'm a change artist. And the thing with change artists, I like building cities, I like building communities, but once the project is healthy and off and running, I'm not that person to stay there and mind the details. If you need me, I'll swing back in, but I'm a change artist by nature.
Okay, I love that. Now, let me just ask you, you said you're trained. What about the city of East Cleveland? What can be done to get that back up and running again?
It's funny you would say that. I've been in so many meetings with them. As a matter of fact, while I've been on vacation, the mayor's brother, Norman King, has been blowing up my phone. I had to send him a picture of Florida and say I'm on vacation. I've been to several meetings with East Cleveland. East Cleveland has a hard predicament, and what they're going to have to do is a different structural funding. And I say that only because they get a small, to give you an example, a good example is Cleveland for the block grant. They get 29 million, and East Cleveland gets 1 million, but they expect them also to pay their service staff out of that 1 million and give out grants. So they really don't have no grant money. Mm-hmm. So that's the service staff, is the police and everybody else out of that 1 million. So they don't get a lot of money, and that has come from East Cleveland used to be booming and healthy, but it's had a lot of bad administration. So what has happened was, when the grants come down from the feds, and also it has a lot to do, their population too is 1,700. It's 17,000. So because their population is only 17,000, they don't get a lot of federal money. But the problem is that now, because they have a bad rep in that circle, it's hard to get money for East Cleveland. And I've been to several meetings, all kinds of meetings for East Cleveland. I would like to help them, but it's an upward battle. It's really an upward battle. And they would have to basically do some structural changing, and probably structural changes, and probably, like I told them at the last meeting I was at, probably do a different non-traditional funding. They have different types of funding that are not grants. They're called impact funds. And I'm really big on that for certain areas, because what that is that if you could show that you're making money, that in 10 to 15 years, they'll give you, you know, like 10 million. But you have to show on paper how you would pay it back in 10 years. So I told East Cleveland, my suggestion for them is to build, get that empty land, those properties, build, you know, start building new, and show where you could, whatever money that you get back, you could pay back within 10 years. But you have to, I even showed them a plan. I showed them a plan with housing that looked like Cleveland State. I showed them the plan, the price, and everything. I said, this is how you could win and bring businesses and everything back into the community. But this is the problem. Is nobody there to step up and put it together, to even have an interest. So I'm not trying to be funny or nothing, but that's not my passion right now. I gave it to them. I asked who would be in charge. I walk them through it, and there's nobody there that has an interest like that. So right now, that's not my passion. You know, that is not my passion. It would have to be a passion, and it had to be for free, because they said they're not paying anybody anything because they don't have anything. So therefore, that's not my passion. But that's the move for East Cleveland. So I don't know how it would be done or when it would be done, but that's how you build up a distressed community like that.
Well, I'm praying that something works out in the future soon, before later. So thank you for giving us that information. We appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah. Because, you know, when I think of, and that's the thing, when I think of grants and things like that, I think of big money, things of that nature, as you're talking about, like East Cleveland. So, you know, but what would someone that on a smaller scale, what would they need? How do you even begin to get grants for your 501c, for your business? What do people need to know in order to get those type of fundings?
In order to get your funding, you have to get your paperwork in order. You have to make sure that, you know, you have your 501c letter, you have a bank statement, you have your bank account. That's mandatory with the registration agencies to get grants.com, sam.com, county money, city money. All of those require a bank account, a Dun and Bradstreet number. I actually have a checklist on my site, things that you need, but those are the type of things you need. You have to make sure that all your foundation is in order. And then you look around and see who you know that knows someone else, and you ask for a letter of support or your program that you want to do, and you just step to them. And it might not be, they might not give you $500,000 the first time. I've seen it done was they gave a new agency straight in the door with nothing, $400,000, but that's not the norm. The norm is that they test you out and say, okay, we're going to test you out, give you $25,000, $50,000, see how you do. See if you're accountable, see if you spend the money on what you're supposed to, send us receipts and see how you do. But once you do that one time, then that opens the floodgate. So it's just really getting established, and how you get established is just finding someone, everybody with networking, somebody, you might know somebody on somebody's board or somebody, and they see that name and say, okay, or I know this person. I know she's not going to just take the money and buy a new car. I'm giving her a letter of support. So that's usually how you get in as a brand new agency. And then you go in, you do what you're supposed to do with the money, and the rest is history. If you don't do what you're supposed to do with the money, that's just simply never fund you again. But that's how you get from the small grants to the large grants, is showing accountability.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very important, and showing that you got all your I's dotted and your T's crossed. So that's how you do that.
So what kind of gems do you normally speak of when you do, if you done any like live videos or anything like that? What do you normally speak about?
As far as grants?
grants or whatever other businesses that you may have that's associated?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel, That Grant Lady, and I speak on where the money is, how to research the money, where are the channels that you research grants under That Grant Lady. I speak about what you need for grants, why some nonprofits fail. Those are on my YouTube channel under That Grant Lady. Yeah, That Grant Lady under YouTube, and I put my videos there to talk about, the difference, in the terminologies, the grant versus the RFPs. And then I also have a book called Free Money in America that's also selling. And that book there, that also answers a lot of questions, where the money is, the money for your state, frequently asked questions. I go into detail asking them. So I have some materials that answers a lot of these questions, because it is a lot of questions. It's a power move. It's a big move, and moving forward with a nonprofit, and they don't like for common people to know this information, because so they keep it hidden. And it's like finding a needle in a haystack, trying to find out anything about it. So it's a lot of people thriving with nonprofits, but you just have to, do what you say you're going to do, and be diligent about setting up your program paperwork and putting in grants. There's no limit to grants. There's no limit to how many that you could get. It's so I always tell people though, don't apply unless you have the capability to manage the money, because I've seen that happen too, where an agency would get a big grant and don't have the staffing or don't have the knowledge to do the grant management and make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and never get a grant again. That happened to a youth organization in Cleveland that serves males, and the Kresge Foundation gave them $400,000. They had never got a grant before, because they were servicing, they have a really good program, and they were servicing young Black males that justice center that were in the justice system. They had a really good program, but they got that grant, and because they got a letter from one of the state judges, and they got a letter from somebody in the justice system downtown Cleveland. And so with those letters, they were able to get the grant that they needed. But the problem is that they didn't know what to do. So, they end up, they haven't got a grant again since then, because, it's a small community. Everybody talks to everybody in the grant world that has that kind of money. So,
no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, so they had some good letters of support, and but what it was is that really the owner, he was into direct service, and he should have hired some staff to manage it, but instead he just tried to use volunteers and pocket a lot of the money. And of course, it doesn't work like that. If you got that kind of money, you take it and hire a staff person.
Yeah, because one thing that I have learned in just the past few months of learning about grants is these things are not recent, they're not talked about, there's no exposure, to the common person. And so, that right there, that information right there is, you have to have someone to maintain these funds. You can't just play around with these people money.
No, you can't.
You want to have accountability. You have to have things in order. And that's a learning lesson right there, just by you saying, hey, not only you're about to get these funds, but you have to maintain them. They want some type of accountability with that, but that's coming with exposure and knowing and learning.
Right,
and,
right. Right. And a lot of people, my passion is really in my own lane, because I like helping the small agencies, the community service agencies. I have people that are grant writers that went to the same school and graduate the same class as me, but they only write for banks and hospitals, where they could get 30,000 retainers and a couple of $100,000 on the back end. They don't like helping the community service agencies. And that's what I like, the smaller community service agencies that's providing services to our women and men that don't have a lot of money, that's in the struggle. That's the agencies that I like working with. And the reason why is because once you get them healthy and on their feet, then they're helping so many others with their services. So then, therefore, my major, urban studies, then you're helping to build communities and build our communities. So that's why that's important to me. But this information is not, it's not common knowledge, unfortunately. And, it's kept under lock and key. It's kept, and that's crazy. And that's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. I just think that just hearing you speak about this information is just amazing because, like I said, it's something no one really speaks about. It's not even known.
Yes.
You know,
I know.
Yeah, you hear about it, but then you really maybe a little intimidated about it if you're not familiar with it. So you just say, well, no, I don't want to do that. I'll go get a loan or a personal loan or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly and truly doing it as a grant, getting grants, like you said, it passes, like, for instance, you're passing on not only information, but revenue to other businesses. As you grow, you're able to pass that on and, like, give that monies and funds to other companies that you're working with to build your community, to build your business. It's just like a beautiful, well-oiled machine if you really use all of your resources like they should go, because you want to be able to, you want to, as someone that's getting grants, you want to use that money to help other businesses, by bringing them on to help you. Like for instance, you get a grant, you need somebody to help you with your finances. You want to find someone in finance, that maybe need, to be able to, that could help and bring in,
Right.
Yeah, I get what I want to say.
Yeah, and so they have people like that. But yeah, that's the problem. The problem is that, the information, they did that for a reason.
It's so sad. That's how it goes. But so what's the difference between a grant writer and a master grant writer?
A master grant writer is anybody with over 20 years experience and that's gotten over $10 million. That's a master grant writer. Just like it is with certain professions. Once you get over a certain level and so many years of grant writing and you have the documentation for the money, then like with everything else, you come, just like with a doctor, you become a specialist in that area. Well, in the grant writing field, you become a master of grant writing, because I've been grant writing all my life. It's a second skin since high school. So, but you get that title, just like you do with a specialist. Like we have doctors, we have physicians, and then we have specialists. So it's the same title in the grant world as a master grant writer.
Okay. Hold on one second. I want to show y'all this. I have this book, The Grant Support. I don't know how good this book is, but I really want to gift it or something to you. I don't know if this is something you can use.
Well, what is it?
It says,
what's in there?
Annual Register of Grant Support, a directory of funding sources.
Okay, so I don't know what sources are in there. They have what's called all over the world called the Foundation Directory. So the Foundation Directory has every grant in the country. So that might be an offset of the Foundation Directory. That might be, because the Foundation Directory looks like a phone book. And it's separated by state. And it's they have them at the libraries. If you go in and say, I like to look at your Foundation Directory. So it's got every state and every foundation, and even in the world. It really United States, but it has some like Bill Gates Foundation, Oprah, et cetera, that gives internationally. So that's called the Foundation Directory. Yeah, that's what that's called. Now, that looks like that's a spinoff of Foundation Support. Would you look in there and tell me who makes that? I'm just curious. It might be the Foundation Directory. It might be a Foundation Directory.
It says National Register Publishing Company.
Okay, So the National Register, no, that's the Federal Register. So it looks like they compiled and charged for just information in the foundation directory. Is it separated by states in there? Like
no,
Atlanta?
I honestly have never really looked at it. It has different programs in here, like humanities, international affairs, and area studies, special populations, stuff like that.
Got you. So yeah, it's probably a spinoff from the foundation directory. It's not the foundation directory. Like if you could go to the library and look at the foundation directory and look up Atlanta, you'll see everyone that gives money in the state of Atlanta. It's like a big phone book, and it tells you each state is separated by state. That's the foundation directory. That right there seems to be a little bit different. So, yeah.
And the only reason why I say that is because, sometimes we hold on to stuff that we don't use personally, but that's your expertise. So why am I holding on to something?
Yes, and it might be something in there with programs or something that I could use or look at, or some data that will save me from researching the data. Like say if they have data on populations or something, I usually have to research the data, but it might have some data, maybe up-to-date data or something in their programs. Yes.
So what's the difference for a nonprofit and a for-profit?
A nonprofit is funded by grants. A for-profit, like a beauty salon, a car wash, a car sales place, for-profit is funded by cash. It's no rules of who you can serve. If you say so, no, nobody can't come in your restaurant, they don't. All that is for-profit. A nonprofit is funded by grants. It's funded by grants and taxpayers' dollars. That's the major difference. It's funded by grants. So a profit business could be anything: a nail salon, a fashion store, car wash. All those are profit businesses. So all those people come in, they pay you money. And other than the taxes at the end of the year, you don't have to count to nobody. If you take that money you made for the day and go buy you a dress, it's your money. You do what you want to do with it. If you take a grant and you say that you're going to provide after school programs and they give you $100,000 for the summer and you go buy you a dress, you're going to jail with that $100,000. Because you said you were going to provide, it's taxpayers' money, and you said that you were going to provide after school programs at the church. So they give you $100,000 for the summer for a nonprofit, then you got taxpayers' money. And so it was free to you, but you got that money because you turned in a proposal to say, this is what I'm going to provide. So then if you take that money and go buy you a car or a dress and don't provide this service, then you didn't do what you said you was going to do. And that's illegal with a grant because that's taxpayers' dollars and you weren't held accountable. With a nonprofit, if you make $100,000 a day doing anything, that's your money. That's your money. You do what you want to do. It's not the same rules.
Yeah. So how can people get in touch with you if they were interested in learning more or wanting to contact you?
Yes. That Grant Lady is my YouTube. That Grant Lady is my TikTok. That Grant Lady. I am Instagram. That Grant Lady with the number 2 on the end. And at any of those platforms, I'm on those platforms. And of course, my email is Rhonda Turpin 924@gmail.com. But I'm on those platforms, especially TikTok and Instagram, all day, every day. So that would be the best 2 ways. And those are That Grant Lady, and Instagram is That Grant Lady with the number 2 at the end.
Okay, awesome.
YouTube is That Grant Lady.
Yeah.
So what about your book? Well, how can we purchase your book?
You could purchase it from Amazon.com. It's on sale, Amazon Books. Rhonda Turpin, my name. Ebook $2.99, print book $19.95. It's free money in America. Go to Amazon Books, free money in America. They have free shipping, or you could download it for $2.99. Free money in America. Rhonda Turpin explains to you everything about how to get a grant, all the terminology, frequently asked questions, where the money is. Free Money in America by Rhonda Turpin. Amazon Books.
Awesome. You know what? Thank you for taking time out of your busy vacationing schedule.
Yes.
You
to
ladies,
speak with
that's
us.
that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to help each other and pull each other up.
Yes.
We appreciate that because it was so last minute and you are on vacation in sunny Florida and we just appreciate you.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate you ladies too.
Thank you. So we just want to tell everybody around the world, thank you for watching Sisters of Leisure. You heard it from Dr. Rhonda Turpin yourself. There is free money out there. She has a book. You can catch her on all of her platforms. The Grant Lady, that Grant Lady, and get as much information as you need to be great and successful in your business. So we thank you all for watching and we love you all. And I hope you all have an amazing week.
Okay, thank you, ladies. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.